Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're unpacking something literally every business owner needs, but secretly kind of dreads: client acquisition. We're looking at a complete, structured blueprint for transforming what is usually a chaotic, stressful scramble into a predictable, unstoppable daily habit. If you've ever felt like finding new clients is a totally daunting chore, well, you are definitely in the right place. The source material we're breaking down today flips the script entirely. It frames this whole process not as some mundane task you want to put off, but as a sleek, highly intentional routine. We're going to dive into both the strategy and the psychological framing you need to build a pipeline that just never runs dry. To really ground our exploration, we've got to start with this core philosophy. Every successful project starts with one conversation. I know, it sounds super simple, right? But the depth behind this idea is exactly what separates struggling freelancers and agencies from the ones that are absolutely crushing it. A lot of the time, we skip this proactive step. Maybe it's because of sheer busyness or, let's be honest, a lingering fear of rejection. We naturally just want the work to miraculously come to us. But the foundational principle here is that before a client is ever going to trust us with their time, their money, or their business, we have to be willing to invest our time into understanding their world. We have to initiate that conversation. We're not sitting around waiting for the phone to ring. We are actively building the communication infrastructure to make it ring. All right, let's dive right into phase one, setting intentional goals. This is where we set the psychological stage for the whole day. Picture this: morning coffee is steaming. Natural daylight is hitting a clean desk. Let's look at the specific actions that kick off this very intentional morning ritual. Step one, you open a physical notebook. Not a notes app, an actual physical notebook. Step two, you write down exactly 3 high-priority daily goals. Just 3. Now you might be wondering, why only 3? Well, because this forces radical prioritization before all the digital noise of the day begins. If you write down 10 things, you know what happens? You'll likely just knock out the 7 easy ones and totally ignore the 3 difficult tasks that actually move the needle. Once those top 3 are set, only then do we hit step 3, opening the laptop. This physical transition from analog planning to digital execution is absolutely crucial. The intention is locked in, and now the real work begins. Now we shift gears into the active phase of the hunt. Phase 2, the deep dive research. Okay, this is where things get really interesting. There is a massive, sharp contrast between what most people do and what this blueprint actually demands. Most people, they just do surface-level skimming. They scroll a feed, cross their fingers hoping to see a post asking for help, and move on. Deep dive research, on the other hand, is completely meticulous. The source highlights using tools like Google Maps to specifically target local businesses, and then cross-referencing them with their LinkedIn and Instagram profiles. Think about it like a giant puzzle. Say you find a highly rated local plumber on Google Maps. You check out their Instagram, and it hasn't been updated in 2 whole years. You click their website, and the booking page is completely broken. You aren't just noting down their name here. You've just gathered the exact actionable intelligence you need to pitch them exactly what they need: a functional booking system and a refreshed social presence. You're digging way past the surface to find the real decision makers and the actual tangible problems you can solve. Which actually brings us to the absolute central thesis of this entire explainer. Client acquisition is a daily habit, not a one-time task. The tedious work of hunting down the right businesses, cross-referencing their socials, and collecting specific email addresses, that is not a chore you do once a month when your pipeline dries up and you start panicking about cash flow. No way. It's a critical, non-negotiable daily system. It has to become just as ingrained in your day as brushing your teeth or pouring that first cup of coffee. So, you've got your intel. Now we move to phase 3, crafting personalized outreach. Let's break down the anatomy of what actually makes outreach effective. Yes, the sheer volume of work required to move from research to active contact is significant, but honestly, this is where the magic happens. First, you leverage the specific needs you identified during your deep dive. Then, you use that exact data to draft highly personalized messages. Why go through the trouble? Because today's audiences are incredibly savvy. If you send some generic, copy-pasted template, they're going to spot it from a mile away, and it's going straight to the trash folder. Next, you prepare tailored, professional proposals that speak directly to their pain points, like mentioning that broken booking link we talked about earlier. Finally, you execute. You send these targeted messages, moving seamlessly from cold emails to direct messages on professional platforms. It's a highly calculated, precise sequence built entirely on the specific data you dug up. Here is the bottom line for this whole process. Finding clients is not about luck. It's about consistency. Unless you've magically stumbled upon a 4-leaf clover, you really can't rely on luck to pay your bills, right? When you're in the trenches analyzing needs, writing personalized drafts, and prepping professional outreach every single day, you are literally mathematically eliminating luck from your business model. You don't need the universe to randomly drop a perfect client in your lap when you're running a proven system at high volume. At the end of the day, consistency is the only math that actually works. But, volume without organization is basically just chaos. That brings us to phase 4, systems for relentless persistence. And this brilliant little setup shows exactly how you tame that potential chaos. By meticulously logging who you contacted, what you sent, and who ignored you, you effectively strip all the messy emotion right out of the outreach process. Instead of waking up feeling anxious and stressed about who to email today, you just look at the numbers. You simply follow the data. Notice how tech startup C hasn't responded yet? In a disorganized fly-by-the-seat-of-your-pants system, you might see that as a total rejection or just completely forget about them. But here, that non-response isn't a failure at all. It's literally just a scheduled follow-up. Logging this data guarantees that absolutely no potential client ever falls through the cracks. It turns what is normally a very messy, stressful process into a tightly controlled, efficient machine. So this brings us to a harsh, but honestly kind of liberating truth. Most people quit after just a few rejections. In literally any acquisition system, rejection is just a standard data point. You're going to send brilliant, perfectly tailored emails that get completely ignored. That's just business. But because you have a rock-solid tracking system in place, you know that logging every response, and more importantly, every non-response, guarantees your eventual growth. Every single piece of outreach increases the mathematical probability of landing your next project. You don't even have to have the world's most perfect pitch. You just have to outlast all the competitors who throw in the towel after hearing one no. And finally, we hit phase 5, closing the loop. This is where the daily habit wraps up. The high-stakes energy of the morning finally begins to settle down. The daylight in your workspace shifts as the sun sets, and you can just lean back in your chair, taking a final, relaxed sip of coffee. The work is done. And then comes the ultimate payoff, a sudden ding. Just one golden notification pop-up. It's a new reply from a potential client. Out of all the deep dive research, all the targeted emails, and all the meticulous tracking, it literally just takes this one notification to justify the relentless volume of the daily grind. That one single reply is the spark. It's what ignites a new project, a new relationship, and a brand new stream of revenue. So let's cement this in our minds by circling back to that foundational rule one more time. Client acquisition is a daily habit, not a one-time task. This isn't just a catchy motivational phrase. It is the entire architectural foundation of a successful digital business. The success we just talked about with that single notification, that wasn't random. It was the direct, undeniable result of sequential daily actions executed with ruthless, unwavering consistency. I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on today. Luck or consistency? Which is driving your business today? Are you just sitting around hoping a client magically finds you? Or are you waking up, setting intentional goals, doing the deep dive research, and relentlessly tracking your personalized outreach? I challenge you to step into this routine tomorrow morning. Take control of the narrative and start building your own unstoppable daily habit. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.